Die Hard for the NES, a very divisive game in the NES library, and some people will either say it's absolute trash, and others will defend this game and say it's an underrated gem. We're gonna do a little something different today and basically analyze this game in full. We're gonna play through this game, and then we're gonna ask, does this game deserve better? Die Hard for the NES is an often misunderstood game in the NES library, let's just say. A lot of people think this game is like Contra, where you just run in and shoot all the terrorists, but this is actually considered a survival game where you have to kind of play this like Metal Gear. We have to sneak around, kill people left and right, and basically play this game like John McClane did in the movie. The plot of Die Hard for the NES is the exact same as the movie. A group of German radical terrorists have taken over the Nakatomi Plaza and taken all the employees hostage. So it's up to John McClane, who managed to escape, to rescue all the hostages and defeat the terrorists. Now, in this video, we're going to analyze the gameplay of Die Hard for the NES. We're going to talk about the multiple ways you can get game over, as well as the multiple endings you can get in this game. But before we start Die Hard for the NES, click that subscribe button. If you click the subscribe button, it will basically give me more motivation to make videos like this, and it'll help me in the algorithm, so I'll heavily appreciate it. Now, Die Hard for the NES is going to have a beginner and advanced mode. The main difference between the two modes is that in the beginner mode, you always start in the 32nd floor, but the advanced mode will drop you on any random floor. Because I am more familiar with the beginner mode, we're gonna play the beginner mode in this video. Your goal is to wait out the clock until they get in the vault, where you can get access to the 30th floor and face Hans Gruber. And also your goal is to kill 40 crooks. Much like in the movie, there are basically terrorists going all over the Nakatomi Plaza you have to hunt down and kill. Now, one thing I like to do right off the bat when I'm playing Die Hard for the NES is to start at the 32nd floor, then go straight up to the 35th floor after I take out the guys there. And this will allow me to take out the guy holding the key to the roof and allow me to go to the roof so I can call the police. You can only call the police before the second lock is broken, and after that you will not be able to. Now, this is also where we're going to go into the different endings in this game. There are different ways you can play this game and you will get different endings as a result. You don't have to call the police, however, Al Powell does not show up, and basically you won't have the police around the whole place, and if you don't call the police, you'll get a different ending. There's also going to be a guy with the detonators on the 31st floor after the second lock is broken. This is another thing that determines what ending you get. The best ending in this game contains both calling the police and keeping the detonators. However, if you don't take the detonators or drop them on one floor and go into another, you will get a different ending as a result. The benefit of having the detonators, though, is that you can use C4 to blow up on doors like this. Just be careful with the C4, though, because if you botch it and you're in the blast zone, it's instant death, and you only get one life in this game, I should also point out. There are two ways to get a game over in Die Hard for the NES. The first one is the traditional way, was when your health bar runs out, and the second one is when the clock runs out and Hans gets away with the bonds. Now, here's a little side quest you can do also. If you pick up this rocket and map to the 4th floor and the 35th floor, you can basically, once you have the detonators, go take the express elevator after the 4th lock is broken down to the 4th floor and take out the guys there and use the start screen to look at the map, and basically, this case, the computer mainframe's to the west, aim the rocket to the west and you will destroy the mainframe. Just keep in mind, though, that the location of the mainframe changes every time you play the game. Now, I should also point out that you have both a life bar and a feet bar. If you've seen the movie, you know that John McClane walks around the plaza barefoot and eventually gets in broken glass and gets his feet messed up. So I think it's a nice touch they made it like the movie, even if it's annoying when your feet bar runs out. As for power-ups, the soda cans heal your life bar and the first aid kits heal your feet bar. Your goal for the rest of the game is pretty much to kill terrorists and run the clock out until the countdown starts where the vault opens. Also, if you get to lock 6 and you're still holding onto the detonators, Hans will send Carl after you, much like in the movie. Now, my preferred method of fighting Carl is to be on floor 34, wait next to the elevator, elevator. And then when I hear the chime, I start shooting and I pretty much ambush him right when he gets out of the elevator. And on top of that, once you've defeated most of Hans's men and you have the detonators, they have to get away because they can't blow up the roof. So now you have a time limit to go save Holly and the hostages before Hans just takes Holly away and gets away with the bonds. Now, once the countdown starts, I pretty much like to go to the roof, and I also took out this guy on floor 35, and I like to go to the roof where there's a 6-pack of soda. Normally this is intended for when you don't have the detonators, but you can just get the little fire hose and then drag yourself down to the 30th floor, much like how he did it in the movie, and I think it's a nice little cutscene. Now, once you're on the 30th floor, you have to kill any of the guys you didn't kill throughout the course of the game, and then you have to face Hans Gruber. I would suggest getting that soda can on the roof to have more health because Hans Gruber is not really that hard. You have to shoot him 4 times, but if you have not a lot of health, he can pretty much kick your ass. Now, this right here is the best ending if you call the police and keep the detonators. Carl is actually still alive after all this time, and basically he ambushes John McClane only for Al Pell to shoot him, much like in the movie, and there's just a little bit of text. So even the best ending is really not particularly fantastic. So that was Die Hard for the NES. Now, the reason I wanted to make this video is because I genuinely enjoy this game, even though it's not your typical like action game and all that. It plays more like Metal Gear than Contra, like I said at the beginning of the video, and it is pretty difficult, but it follows the movie really, really well. To a crazy extent. Like, it's got the broken glass, it's got the feet problems, it's got the terrorists, it's got even the plot as well. And now, does Die Hard on the NES deserve better? I would honestly say give this game a shot. Like, it's challenging, you might have to do some repeated attempts, but once you get the hang of this game down, you can basically beat it in like 10-20 minutes. And it's a really good time waster, especially on Christmas time when like you normally watch the movie. Now, thank you very much for watching this review / retrospective. Subscribe and hit that bell if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys next time.